In five-card draw, the lack of community cards limits strategic choices to a binary calculation based on hidden data. Conversely, five-card stud presents an abundance of exposed information, turning decisions into a rigid, formulaic exercise. Hold'em occupies the exact center. This equilibrium, 2 hidden hole cards and 5 community cards, creates the highest skill ceiling in card games. This specific balance prevents the game from being solved by a single formula. Instead, it forces players to constantly weigh incomplete information against evolving statistical probabilities. Elite pioneers like Doyle Brunson recognized this complexity, eventually labeling no-limit hold'em the Cadillac of poker. The lethal element of the Cadillac is the no-limit designation. At any moment, a player can wager their entire chip stack on a single decision. Success depends on weaponizing these unlimited bet sizes. By controlling the amount of money in the center, you dictate the exact mathematical terms your opponent must accept to continue playing. Mastering the Cadillac requires looking past cinematic soul reads toward a framework that integrates rigorous pot odds with disciplined opponent profiling. Amateurs often evaluate their strength by looking exclusively at the 2 hole cards they were dealt. Professionals use an 11-variable contextual matrix where the hole cards are merely one component of the equation. This matrix begins with physical constraints, like stack-to-blind ratios and precise table positioning. Then come the psychological constraints, like current table metagames and rigorous opponent profiling. Dan Harrington became the analytical architect of this approach, proving that consistent tournament success relies on objective, multivariable analysis. The final table of the 2003 World Series of Poker provides the ideal laboratory to see this matrix in operation. By freeze-framing a single hand from this tournament, we can track exactly how elite players process all 11 variables in real time. The economic parameters of this 7-handed table start with blinds at $10,000 and $20,000, plus a $2,000 ante from every player. Before any voluntary betting occurs, these forced contributions create a starting pot of $44,000. Sam Farha opens from the small blind, raising to $60,000 with a pair of nines. Dan Harrington looks down at ace-king offsuit, a premium holding. Standard amateur logic suggests an immediate aggressive re-raise to isolate Farha and maximize the value of the big slick. Harrington chooses to flat call. This secures a positional advantage, ensuring he acts last on every subsequent betting round. Second, Harrington prefers to suppress volatility. A massive re-raise bloats the pot and commits his stack before he has the information the flop will provide. Amir Vahedi sits in the small blind with a weak 10-8 suited and a hyper-aggressive table image. The pot currently sits at $224,000. Because he already posted the $10,000 small blind, calling costs him $50,000. He receives pot odds of exactly 4.5 to 1. Vahedi's entry with 10-8 exploitatively targets these pot odds, turning a weak holding into a sound investment. The dealer reveals the first 3 cards. Each player performs a flop texture analysis to see how these cards interact with their opponent's statistical ranges. For Harrington, this uncoordinated middle card board completely misses his ace-king range. Harrington's conservative table image, playing mostly high cards, neutralizes his ability to bluff here. The table expects he missed this board, and he knows it. Sam Farha flopped a hidden 3 of a kind. He maintains the initiative by betting into the $274,000 pot. His wager is exactly $80,000, or $29,000. The probe bet buys information at a discount. Farha forces his opponents to reveal their strength while retaining enough chips to fold safely if needed. Probe betting allows professionals to navigate uncertain textures without risking tournament elimination. The turn card arrives. It is a neutral, non-threatening card that fails to complete any obvious straight or flush draws. Amir Vahedi still holds nothing, merely a weak gut shot straight draw. Despite this, Vahedi fires a massive bet into the pot. The logic behind this massive bluff is found in raw arithmetic. By betting roughly half the pot, Vahedi risks $1 to win 2. This bet only needs to succeed 33% of the time to reach the break-even threshold. Vahedi's profiling suggests Farha's earlier small bet was weak. He calculates a bluff will force a fold significantly more often than the required 33% threshold. Unfortunately, in this specific hand, the massive bluff completely fails. Farha had already improved to an invisible full house. Despite the outcome, the underlying risk-to-reward ratio remains sound. Optimal theory yields long-term profit, regardless of short-term bad luck. This perfectly illustrates the concept of hidden variance, the branching realities created by every single decision made at the poker table. Revisit the first betting node, where Harrington chose to flat call with his ace-king. In an alternate reality, Harrington follows the amateur urge to aggressively re-raise before the flop. This aggressive raise immediately folds out the Haiti, isolating Harrington against Sam Farha. When the flop misses his range, standard continuation betting leads to an inevitable collision, pushing Harrington to commit his entire chip stack. In this timeline, Harrington runs his ace-king into Farha's hidden set of nines and is eliminated from the tournament. Harrington's tournament survival hinged on a structural decision to suppress volatility at the first betting node, a victory invisible to the casual viewer. The divide is clear. Amateurs play the two cards in their hand. Professionals play the dynamics of the table. In the Cadillac of poker, the physical cards are merely vehicles used to construct complex mathematical betting scenarios. Success requires balancing aggressive and conservative styles, making your internal model unreadable to your opponents. Winning large-scale tournaments by waiting to flop monsters is statistically impossible. The true metric of a winning player is the ability to apply relentless, calculated pressure. Mastery of no-limit hold'em is achieved through strict risk management, advanced mathematical modeling,